such a fanboy, but that's such a true statement because, and you know, as somebody who's been in the music business for 10 years, you know, holy shit, I've done a lot of things in 10 years. I've done a lot. And like every year goes by and you don't think that much happens, but you actually look at a decade and it's like, holy shit, a lot happened. You know, started a wedding band, started a podcast, worked with so many, you know, artists and clients. And it's just like, wow, a lot actually did happen in a decade. And, you know, I'm excited for the next one, you know?
Same here, man. Same here.
Yeah, totally. So tell me a little bit about your workflow. You know, how do songs begin for you when you're doing a production with an artist? Like, what do they typically send you, and how do you kind of take it from whatever it is that you get into the final product?
So most of the time, there's a demo of some kind. Like 87.3% of the time, there's some form of a demo, even if it's like a click track and a voice memo, something to start. And we'll chat for a couple hours about like sounds and songs and feelings and emotions and tones that excite them, and just kind of throw stuff at the wall together so I can get a sense, you know, because people will say, oh, I want to maybe go in this subgenre, and then we have a call and it's like, oh, I actually know where you want to go now. So, or I really just take my time up front with that. Like I just route Spotify into Zoom and listen to some tracks they tend to talk about, and then I kind of maybe ask questions about certain things and if they like it or not, and dig into it that way. So from there, I'll typically build something out, intro through first chorus, if it's like a new artist that I'm working with. And we sit down every week together, like anybody that I work with that isn't like mixing. Is that true? Yeah, it is. Okay. Just making sure. I don't know. I stopped doing like mixing only work for the most part. So I was like, I have a couple, but is that true? And it is true. So no matter what, there's always that touch point too. So I'll take all that, develop something, and then we sit down together with it, you know, live, like stream this, you know, listen to audio over situation and make tweaks together, but not the flex. It's usually like 90% of the time, it's just like, and then we move forward. So that's typically how the flow is. And we're always like talking back and forth on social media pretty consistently, just throwing things or ideas or thoughts. Like I'll voice memo, oh, I had a bridge idea. Like, what do you think of this before I go like demo it out? Just thought like, then I maybe explain it out, wait till I hear back, and then I'll go like cut it up, you know, maybe with their memo phone vocal, and just kind of show what I meant and get a yay or a nay, and I prepare it before our next call. So it keeps it pretty like collaborative and pretty open. It's a good balance of like having it involved, but also giving me the flexibility to where, you know, if it's like 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. or 8 a.m. or 2 p.m., however the day flows, I'm still able to get the work done and have that flexibility. So it's not like I have to make the track right here on this spot, which is really nerve-wracking. Yeah, which is one of the reasons I moved away. You can wait
for the right energies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about production, right? It's like it's not like a day job where you just come in and go out. Like mixing, you can maybe do that with. Like mixing is easier to kind of like, okay, cool, let's set up the, you know, the sends and whatever. But with production, it's like you're either inspired or you're not, or you have the energy to do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like I was actually just talking with you know Enoch Yang.
Oh yeah.
So I was literally just talking with him about this yesterday on the podcast. So like, yeah, it's you know, he was saying like I can't really do more than one production a month because it takes so much out of me, you know, because it's such an emotional labor, and it's hard. It's not predictable, you know.
Yeah, it's like you can spend 2 hours on a bass and not like any of them and shut it down, and then that was just kind of the sit down. Like, and funny. Okay, now that I'm going to loop back to something from like 45 minutes ago, which I know people love in podcasts. It's one of their favorite things, which is when somebody's nonlinear about their trains of thought and delivering the value that they were hoping for. But oh well, I'm fine with it.
It's a very conversational podcast, so
I know, but
people are in it for the conversation. No worries, man.
But that was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to focus on remote. Is that like it's very performative and it's one of those things too where I also ain't cheap now, so I think maybe it'd be different now. But it wouldn't make sense to just do a flat rate and, you know, everybody, because, okay, here it is. No matter what, when it's in person, it has to be constrained by time, unless they're paying an exorbitant fee, because then yeah, because if it's just a pure flat and in person, and I have an unproductive couple out, like I don't know, they're just like expecting this performance of like excellence, and I can feel this pressure to do that, to like get the beat, get this, get that, really, really fast. And, I want to respect their time as well. And it's just like, oh, if we didn't get much done today, like people aren't going to feel great about working together. It just doesn't feel good. And then if I put it on, I don't know, it's just weird. So it's just like, I will find the moment.
I hear that.
But I want to be able to like start. So I don't even spend 2 hours. If I feel that diminishing return start, I just shut it down. Great. Cool. Yeah. I'm onward. I'll go make some eggs. Make some eggs, watch a YouTube video, chill.
Yeah.
Check on my Slack. Like
my pushback would be my pushback to that would be like sometimes when you actually have somebody in the room, it kind of gives you the boost you need to actually work on the project and actually do something. Like once you like get started, you know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
It kind of starts to flow. Like even like doing mundane tasks, I'm often like I'd rather do it if the artist is still in the room. Like let me finish copying this vocal while you're here, because otherwise I'm going to push it off. You know what I mean? Like
it can very much be like have that juice
impetus. Having
them in the room. I've definitely had plenty of those moments too. I've actually lost work because of me doing it this way. I have people where they don't like that at all. So I'm like, great. Thanks. It's not a fit. Just all good.
But you have enough people come, saying, hey, John, I'd like to work with you, that it doesn't matter. You could just choose the artist you want.
I can customize it too. It's like, hey, this is how I flow. And then I've had people say they want to do it another way, and I'll take a second, figure out how I could. And that just would change the investment amount proportionately. And if they want to work with that, great. Like, or I've had people where I've heard their past stuff, and I'm like, you need to come to LA to record. I don't say demand, but essentially I'm saying I demand you come here to finish the song together. Like I'll build the track, and then you're gonna sit your butt next to me, and we're gonna cut the vocals, and that's how it's gonna be. And then somebody said no, and I was like, great, and I'm gonna say no to this, but thank you. And I think ultimately it's just serving what the person needs. Like that's all that is, right? Is like I've had people who are like, don't even send me a partial, John. Just make me a track and give it to me. Great, I make them a track. They're like, cool, I'm gonna write to this. And I'm just waiting for them to write to it now. And then other people who insist on it, I'm serving them by saying no. Other people who want it in the middle, maybe we can figure it out. Or people where I insist on they need to be here because I know it serves them, because they can't emotionally figure out how to deliver the song at all. And they don't want to do it. And I say, great, well, I don't want to do it either. Essentially, it's like, I know the song needs this. Are you willing to do this for the song? No. Okay. Well, then I can't say yes to this in good faith, and then have a song come out where it's lackluster. Like I've done this. I've had enough of those come out now. I'm not interested in doing that to anybody's song.
It's so hard for us to sometimes say no to those gigs, even though we know we should. Like, I feel like we always know when those red flags come up. Like if you have some sort of like read on the room, which I think most people that do what we do, but there's still an incentive to take it, because you know what, this is work, it's coming in now, I should just do it. You know what I mean? And it's cool that you have like the guts to say no, or like, I don't care about FOMO, I'm just doing what I do. And like, if it isn't actually going to serve the song, if it's not going to work for me, forget it,
It's very, you're right. You're very much, it's very much like the long-term legacy approach. I've obviously had, a couple of very rare experiences with people where we parted ways and it didn't go well, but and I part ways amicably and give them all the stuff. I give them full refunds and we leave. But like, I don't know, I just don't want to be working with somebody and feeling like, did I make a mistake? Like hiring this guy, even if, I can figure stuff out. I'm pretty good at that, but that's just not what I want to be remembered for. So, that guy who like got a buck off of me. Fucker.
You're about the long game. This is the common thread that we keep coming back to. It's like you have a vision and you're thinking long term, and you're reverse engineering how you get to that long term goal, basically. Yeah, and
very very much so. And also to say, like, I think this is kind of weird, but for the right person, I think it'll be important. I think the reason people will say yes, right, is because money right now, work. I have less projects maybe than I could handle, and One of the biggest points for me, which I kind of neglected, was getting to the point, where it's like I don't have to say yes right now either way, but I really get to focus in on the people that I can get the best results, make the best work with, and get them the best. Right, when somebody's DMing me that they're crying because they heard the version of the track that they've always wanted to, and like I want people to either cry or get very horny, depending on what the song's about every single time. Like if you aren't, to feel what you were supposed to feel intensely after the work is done. And the reason, and now because I am very blessed and fortunate and humbled to have demand for my time and my energy, is I have that by default, like through demand. But what I wish I would have done, or would recommend, is, much as people don't like hearing this, is having an income source that doesn't force you to be reliant on shit. Everything is like Enoch's a great example of that. Like he's a dude who gets to make music and isn't reliant on it for for paying his bills. So he gets to build pure legacy creatively. Everything he does creatively is pure 30-year Enoch legacy. Yeah. And that's a power that is like unmatched, because what happens, and this is what I did too. It's like when I was sleeping on the rehearsal studio floor, showering at the gym, little microwave mini fridge. That was the vibe. And my suitcases in my car, my clothes. And I had to say yes to everything, which meant I took on things I shouldn't have said yes to. I did the best I could. It was meh. But, I think it slowed me down, where if I took my time with 6 songs over that year and made them absolutely iconic, like great, it would have taken me a lot further than the 30, I don't know, I didn't keep track of it, let's say 30 things that I did pump out that year.
Yeah.
But
you kind of had to go through those stages anyways, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like everyone has to go through that moment of, or that time in your life where you're just doing whatever you can, hustling, figuring shit out, learning on the fly. Like there's that like, fire under, what's the word? What's the term? The pressure.
Yeah. Fire under your ass? Wait.
Yeah, fire under the ass. That could be it. That's not the one I'm thinking about, but my English gets really shitty late at night as my brain starts to cloud. Not that, because it is my native language, but then there are terms that make more sense in Hebrew, so then I kind of think about those sometimes.
The only thing about fire and urgency is the ass one, but maybe there's other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also to say, I don't have other like skills that are helpful. I don't have anything. Yeah. I mean, now I do. Like I can work with the business that builds systems for freelancers, rewrite their sales copy. But like I can, but that's through at this point. Like before music, I had no other skills. It was like either this or whatever was available for
Starbucks.
Yeah, for non-specialized labor. So I just hope that like if somebody's listening to this and they make a moderate salary, especially if they work remote and they're bummed as fuck, it's like, man, you could see it like that, or you could see it as you are in a position to like play legacy and make truly iconic music from like now to the rest of your life, and make that transition even at the same speed or faster when you only put out like pristine platinum level bangers. I would argue that I would have gone further faster if I had done that. And not, if I cut out all the time from the stuff I shouldn't have said yes to and had a actual skill set that paid more than minimum wage at the time and just did the 10% of the projects, I would have gone further a lot faster and then been able to make that transition from that's my hypothesis. I can't test it. I don't have time travel yet. So
yeah,
hypothesis.
You know what? You shouldn't, because you're here. You are where you are today because you've done enough other things that worked out for you. So tell me a little bit about mixing, because I know you're able to use the VSX and mix on headphones and get things sounding tight. Like, tell me a little bit about that transition.
So I went through. I mean, every audio person goes through this whole dance of like, should I get Amphions or Barefoots? And all that stuff, and figuring out that rockets are terrible, and all the kind of things that we have to figure out. And I only made the decision to be able to do this, to be able to travel. Like, I like having a monitor. I like having monitors. I like cranking the room up and jumping around. I don't like that I can't do that with the VSX. But what I can do with the VSX, first off to say, I got them, and I trained on it for maybe 3 months before I could tell Michelle, I am confident. And no artist has said anything, about it, right? So, like, actually, the notes got less when I got onto these, it's like, okay, it has been proven we can go. Like we can start to think about going now. So I spent a good